Sometimes you read the Bible and it sounds like it is a book written by primitive people, which is partially true. But there are primitive people all over the place. I'm going to tell you a story. I may have told you this before. I may have told it several times before, but I'm going to tell it again. When I lived on Long Island, New York, I lived in a neighborhood that had quite a few families with children in it. But it also had one road through it that was kind of a shortcut from one side to the other. And people would come in their cars flying down that road. And at the time, my kids were small, and I didn't like this. So I would yell at people as they drove past. I would yell at them to slow down, and they would not, but they would. I just felt like I had to do something about it. But on a couple of occasions, I got a reaction. I was out walking the dog early one morning, and a guy went flying by, and I yelled at him to slow down, and he stopped and turned around and came back to me and says, "What did you say?" I said to slow down. You're driving too fast through this neighborhood. There's kids in here. He says, I'm not going to listen to a little punk like you. I don't know what made him think I was a punk. That's what he said. I said, well, I don't care whether you listen to me or not. I just want you to slow down. And he said, how long you been living here? I had no idea what that had to do with it. So I said, I've been here about 5 years. He goes, well, I've been living in this neighborhood for 27 years. So I'm going to drive through here as fast as I want. Now, I didn't quite follow the logic of that. And as I was trying to say to him, it doesn't matter how long you lived here, he sped off. The second time it happened, guy driving past, and I yelled at him, and he skidded to a stop in his little red sports car. And he came backed up to where I was. I had been on my bike, so I was standing on my bike, and my kids were right behind me. I mean, we're right there in the front yard. They were standing right there behind me. He comes back, and he starts swearing at me and yelling at me and referring to me by all sorts of anatomical names that were mostly incorrect, and yelling at me and telling me he was going to drive however he wanted to drive, and I couldn't tell him how to drive, and the speed limit, he didn't care what the speed limit was, and I'm saying to him, look, you're going to kill somebody someday. You're going through here too fast. You got kids running around. They're not paying attention. You're going to kill somebody. He keeps yelling at me, and finally, he gets out of the car and comes up. Stand up a second, Dennis, I want to show you. He gets out of his car, and he comes up to me like this. And he's yelling at me like this, and I finally said the only thing I said that whole day that got through to him. There was a pause, and I said, go ahead and hit me, because I would love to sue you. And that got his attention, because I was picturing, oh yeah, I'm going to get your house and your car. I'm going to turn it all over to some organization that works with children, but that was the only thing that he seemed to care about. He finally got back in his car and he drove off. I never saw him again after that. At least I never noticed him again after that. Maybe he was going by too fast. So let me ask you this question. We were just reading about demons. Are there still demons in the world? What was going on? What was going on with that guy? What in the world was it? So here we go. Back in the first century, when the Bible was written, people believed in the power of demons. They thought there was an unseen war going on between demons and angels, and that sometimes in that war, people got caught in the crossfire, and it was possible for a demon or an angel, but mostly demons, to get into you and take you over and make you act and behave in ways that were either bizarre or dangerous or hurtful or harmful. That was what they thought could happen. Diseases, they assumed, were caused by the very same thing, these demons that would get inside of people, and that's what would make people sick. And Jesus talked about this. He worked with that understanding. Did he believe in the power of demons? Did he believe that or not? We don't know. We know that he talked about it, and he referred to it that way. So when I read about demons in the Bible, I look at it a bit differently. I'm not picturing these little horned creatures running around stabbing at us with pitchforks. In the Bible, demons are creatures that torment people. And I figure anything that torments a person That's what a demon is. And I've used that terminology sometimes in counseling with people too, to say, this is your demon. It's the thing that is tormenting you. And it can be all kinds of things. It's also true that there are demons in society that torment us, that make us do things that we should not, that cause us all kinds of trouble. War, bigotry, poverty, those are demons that are in possession of a great many people in our world. Jesus says if demons are defeated, then that has to be by the power of God. Some of the religious leaders who were with Jesus when he was healing someone from demon possession said that he could only do that because he had Satan's power. He had Beelzebub's power. He had the king of the demons' power. That's how he was doing it. And Jesus says, well, if I cast out demons by Satan's power, then who do you do it by? Because you do it too. So he kind of stopped that argument right there. But Jesus says, if the Spirit of God, if it is by the Spirit of God that I drive out demons, then be sure that the realm of God has already come to you. Now our job in the church is to help that along, to fight these demons, to carry on the work of Jesus. And if Jesus cast out devils, we ought to do the same thing. We have to free people from whatever it is that torments them, whatever form we find it. The defeat of the devils, the defeat of demons, is a sign that God's realm is with us. Whenever we're able to free somebody from that kind of torment, then we know that the realm of God has come. Whenever we free somebody from addiction, or give self-respect and love to someone who has known none, or give an elderly person a few moments of fun and companionship, when we do those things, then the realm of God is there with us, because we're fighting the demons. But if Jesus says the realm of God is here, if we teach that, if we really are living in God's realm, why are there still so many demons around us? Why are there demons that make people angry enough or stressed enough to go speeding through a neighborhood in their car? Why does that kind of thing still go on? If the realm of heaven is near us, then why are people living as if it is not? Well, apparently both realms are still with us. The realm of the demons and the realm of heaven still with us. We're kind of living in a world that has both of them. And in this, Jesus tells this very strange story. You probably heard him when he said this. He said, when a demon is cast out, it goes off into the desert and it wanders around for a while, and then it comes back and it finds the house that it was living in is now all swept and clean and empty. And the demon moves back in and invites friends in, and the person is worse off than they were before. I know, it's a very strange story, but I got thinking about that, and there's some real truth to that. This is one of the things that people who work with addiction tell us, that when you clean someone, when someone gets clean, if they don't replace what was there before, they fall back into addiction. It's like crabgrass. Do we have crabgrass in Maine? Okay, I had a bad case of it in Pennsylvania, and I tried, I'd go out and I'd yank it up and I'd throw it away, and it would come back. It came back. Somebody said there's a simple solution for crabgrass. In the fall, you dig it all up, and then you plant regular grass seed over top of it. And the grass seed will grow back in the spring before the crabgrass can, and the crabgrass won't be able to get a hold, and it'll be gone. And it works. But it's sort of like that with our lives too. If you yank out the crabgrass and don't have something to put back in that spot, things can get worse. The Arab Spring that happened a few years ago, remember, where totalitarian governments were toppled by uprisings of the people, but there was a vacuum of power, and right into that slipped more totalitarianism, more of the same kind of thing, slipped right back into that. You can't clean out what's wrong unless you replace it with something that's right. That's the important message that Jesus has to say. That's what we do here, because I'm trying to plant seeds of Christ in you so that when the things in your life that you need to get rid of are gotten rid of, that can grow in its place, so that the demons don't come back and say, hey, somebody cleaned it all up, let's move in. We want to get rid of those things and replace it with something else. I don't know what's going on with the guy driving through my neighborhood. What do you think it might be? Is he stressed? Is that the way he was raised? Is he somebody who just really doesn't care about somebody else? You know, I could have gone to the police and I could have brought him down and said, do something about this guy. And maybe they would have even caught him, and maybe they would have given him a fine, and maybe he would have had to pay that. And how different would he be when it was all over? Is there a chance he would still be doing that kind of thing? Yeah. What would have needed to have happened? What if, instead, I had built a relationship with him? What if I'd have driven around until I saw his car parked in a driveway somewhere and then knocked on his door and said, hey, remember me? I'm the guy that yelled at you. Want to talk for a little bit? Maybe I would have got punched in the eye, but it's not like I haven't had that happen before, so could have done that. But could we have done something together, he and I, to replace that anger in his soul with something else? Could that have been done? That's why we're here. That's why we're here. To heal that within you, to replace those places and to fill you with love so that when you go from here, that's how you live.
You've been listening to a sermon by Reverend Stephen Carnahan, pastor of High Street Congregational Church in Auburn, Maine. If you feel inspired by what you hear, you're invited to join us in person for worship services every Sunday morning, starting at 10 o'clock. Of course, you can always listen to Steve's sermons on the web. New sermons are posted every Monday by midday. Please explore this website for more information about our church, or visit our Facebook page at High Street Congregational Church, UCC, where you'll find the video version of Steve's sermons as well. We hope that God's presence will be known to you every hour of every day. May God's blessings rest upon you now and always. See you next week.